Okay, so first and foremost, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, and thank you for attending. We are going to start commencing our trainings, actually all our sessions on time. So please be punctual. I know previously we gave everybody like a 5-minute window, but I think it's just giving the wrong idea out there. You guys are professionals. You guys should be self-motivated, and you guys should be able to get to our meetings and sessions or classes on time. So we are going to get started at 10 o'clock, okay? Let me go over that. So like I've indicated in the past, these trainings are for all our agents. It's for you to educate yourself, to be updated, and so forth. So anything that you feel that you want to be, any topic you want us to brush up on or learn, please let us know. That's what we're here for, okay? Today we're going to be going over again, like last week, new and also amended or revised forms that were that C.A.R revised or actually implemented late last year in December. Okay, there are some new amended forms, new and amended forms in relations to property management. However, we're not going to be going over those today, because as a company, Coldwell Banker George Realty does not encourage our agents to engage in property management. Therefore, we're not going to go over them. It doesn't make sense for us to go over a practice that we do not encourage. So if you are engaging in property management, by all means, I mean, it's your call, it's your business, it's your license. However, we're not going to teach that. So you're going to have to, and we still, if you are going to engage in property management, then we still encourage you to learn about these and educate yourself and be updated. So, and you can do that by registering to any and all classes that are offered through either C.A.R or your board of realtors. Okay. So, before I hand it off to Michelle, she's going to start with some forms and amendments, and then I'll follow up with the last of them. Let's keep all of our questions till the end of the session. That way we get a nice flow of the meeting. We get through all our documents. So if you have a pen and paper, just jot down your question or put it in a chat box. I guarantee you, I assure you that we will get to all your questions, but I just don't want to get bogged down in the middle of the training to ask for specific questions and stuff. So please write your questions down or put it in a chat box, and then we will get to them at the end of the training. Okay. Lastly, before Michelle goes over, it's a beautiful day out there, nice and sunny. It's going to warm up. So, you know, get out there, start prospecting, door knocking, start meeting people, mingling. All right, take advantage of the weather, okay? All right, I'll hand it over to Michelle.
Hi, good morning, everybody. It's always a privilege and a pleasure to be here with you. So today we're going to look at some amendments or changes or additions that the C.A.R attorneys made to the lease listing agreement. So this is the listing agreement. So I'm going to go over the highlighted sections and explain a little bit on those, because this is where the changes have been made. So you'll see right here, I highlighted rental property owner, or RPO. So we are transitioning away globally in the C.A.R forms from using the term landlord. It will be replaced with rental property owner or property owner. So I just wanted to highlight that. So in lieu of using landlord, you will see the forms transitioning and being updated to rental property owner, or you'll see on the lease agreement that it's going to say property owner. So I wanted to point that out to you because that is a new term. So we're keeping up with the times. There's some legislation, in case you're wondering why, in the state of California. So we're keeping up with the times of the terminology and we're migrating to rental property owner. So let's move down to listing terms. This is nice right here on 2E. They added a section, and this is good for the agent to know right up front of what personal property that the landlord will be leaving in the unit. And it could be a refrigerator or something of, could even be a washer and dryer. I've seen that. But whatever personal property they're leaving as a courtesy to the tenant, it's not warranted and it's not going to be maintained or replaced by the RPO. So if they are leaving any sort of personal property, go ahead and fill it in here once you talk to the RPO about that, okay? So compensation on subsequent sale to the tenant. So they've brought this up because they want it to be very clear to the RPO that if you've checked a box that you will be seeking compensation if the tenant that you placed enters into an agreement and then purchases the property. So to be applicable on this lease listing contract, you check the box here and you put the percent here. So that's right up front. It's in big letters. So the RPO is aware of what you're seeking and you can discuss that with your RPO. So it's not hidden, it's all bolded. So if you're going to want this type of deal with the RPO, make sure you're checking the box, inserting the percentage, and discussing it with them to see if they agree. Okay, so if you come down here to the tenant payments, the default on these is to the RPO unless you specify it in here. So the first month's rent, we don't take that, never to the broker. Okay, so these would be left blank. The default is to the RPO. The following are due and payable to the RPO. So you will not be using these boxes generally. I'm trying to think if I've ever, no, it's usually going straight to the RPO. So you would just, this defaults here. So direct electronic payments is something new. If the RPO is going to permit the tenant to pay direct deposits such as wire or electronic payments, the RPO is advised right here, and they're going to update this word to RPO. They should be discussing with RPO tenant attorney the implications of doing so. So what they found is that there could be problems if a notice was sent by the RPO to the tenant, and then the tenant makes an electronic payment of partial, it could affect, that notice. So they're just wanting to advise the RPO about electronic payments. Of course, ultimately, it is up to the RPO should they wish to accept those. And also they're reminding you to have the wire fraud advisory form signed, which should populate with your lease. So that's not new to us. It's just this right here, the direct electronic rental payments. So there's right down here under 12B, Ruben is going to address the rental property owner disclosure form, which is the acronym RPOD. And here that shall be provided to the broker within 3 days of completing this agreement. For me, I would probably want it with the agreement, but again, that's up to you and your business. So for me, I would check the box. I would like to have everything together with the agreement, but that's up to you and your business, as long as you can have that form completed within 3 days of the agreement. Okay. Okay, here they're on, let's see what, 13F, termination of agency relationship. So what this paragraph is trying to do is make it very clear that we're not their property manager unless we have entered into an agreement to be their property manager. And as Ruben stated here, at our company, we don't do property management. So this is providing an explanation that we are not their property manager. Broker will not represent the RPO regarding management of the premises. It's also letting the RPO know when our agency expires with them. So right down here in I, this is a really nice addition, entering into a rental agreement for the premises. That would mean our agency is over, and if checked, choose all that apply. So a lot of times the RPO is going to want us to complete a move-in inspection. So we could check that box, or maybe they want us to deliver the keys. So whichever box you check, you will continue on to do that, and you will be under agency. Or if the expiration of this lease agreement, if it expires with no tenant, of course, your agency expires then. But what they're trying to do is make it clear when your agency ends and that we're not their property manager. Choose these that apply, or just leave it blank if you're not going to be doing the move-in inspection. If you do the move-in inspection with the tenant, I always let the tenant know that they can take pictures, and if they want to provide pictorial evidence or of something in the unit, they could take a picture, and that could be sent over with the move-in form. So that's just something that I let them know of when we're walking through. So on 14 and 15, these changes were made more for the attorneys. So it's saying that the broker is responsible for paying their own attorney fees, and clarifying that. They've changed here to RPO, and the losing party in any such action shall pay the other party's attorney fees. So this is just clarifying that the broker would be responsible for paying their own fees on the transaction, should that be an issue. They changed to RPO here. This is something interesting here, number 16, management approval. So if a salesperson or broker associate enters into this agreement on the broker's behalf, which we do because we work for our broker, and the management does not approve the terms, the broker manager has a right to cancel this agreement in writing within 5 calendar days after its execution. So just bear that in mind. That's a management approval. And of course, when these get uploaded into SkySlope, that's why we want them timely. So make sure it gets uploaded, and the managers will be reviewing that document, but let's get it in as soon as possible, and so that the managers can review it. And it's for all of our care. Okay. So that's going to conclude this, and I'm going to turn it over to Ruben. Ruben, did you have any comments on the changes on the lease listing agreement before you go over the rental property owner disclosure? Hello?
Sorry, I muted myself.
Okay. Any comment?
Yeah, great job, by the way, Michelle. Yes, so if you're if just know that if you're using broker, again, the Zip Forms Broker Edition, that if you click on any one of those boxes, it's going to add that form to your transaction. So if it's applicable, it'll be added to your transactions. You might click on it and see a unfamiliar form because it's a new form, but know that if you clicked on it, it's going to be added to your transaction. Okay. All right, so we're going to move on to a new form that was just added. It's called the RPOD, which stands for the Rental Property Owner Disclosure. Okay, and just to reiterate what Michelle said earlier, as far as the term landlord, the word landlord is deemed antiquated and negative in most aspects. So little by little, you're going to see that word diminish from all the forms, and even in legislation in California, they're going to slowly but surely get rid of all the term landlord and all the forms and stuff. So just keep that in mind and understand it. So when you see RPO, it's going to reference a rental property owner. You're also going to see PO, which is property owner. Okay, so that's going to also be another term that you're going to be seeing. So the RPOD, or the rental property owner disclosure, is kind of similar to the SPQ, okay, where the landlord, or I'm sorry, the RPO is going to be disclosing what he knows of the property. Okay, the similarities that the SPQ and the RPOD has is that it describes the property and its condition. The RPO landlord should fill out the form at his best knowledge, his or her best knowledge. Okay, this should also always be filled out or checked by the RPO and not the agent. Okay, just like a transfer disclosure. Okay, so hand this to them, or if you want to do an interview, you're more than welcome to do an interview with them. Maybe they're busy. Just ask them those questions. Make sure that you check the applicable box that he indicates, and then he's going to have to sign it to verify that it's all accurate. Okay, so don't fill it out for them. One difference between the two, one difference that between the SPQ and RPOD is that this form is solely between, it's going to be solely between the RPO and the broker or agent representing them, the listing agent. Okay, it's not going to be distributed to the other parties. Okay, this is basically so that the agent can better know the property and better market the property accurately and knowingly. Okay, so again, this disclosure is not going to go, it's not intended to be distributed to the other parties. Okay, it's not going to go to the tenant or the tenant's agent. Okay, so it's pretty self-explanatory. Michelle's going through it. It's non-disclosure, non-statutory, asbestos. You're going to know fast, carbon monoxide, smoke alarms. So basically, the RPO is just going to go through each section, and is he aware of it, of any defects or anything, and he checks either yes or no. So that's basically what the RPOD is intended for. Okay. All right, Michelle, you have any comments on that?
No, that great job, Ruben. And then everybody just signs it at the end, and yeah.
Oh,
I think
yes.
it's a wonderful addition, because then we're not guessing, hey, is there sub-meters on the property or anything like that. I think that's a really nice addition of this form.
Michelle, I'm assuming that if they answer yes, they're going to have to give an explanation.
Yes. Any yeses, you're going to provide an explanation. If it's not enough space, add an additional form or paper to it.
Well,
Okay.
well, the explanation will be given by the RPO.
Yes.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good reminder.
Yeah, just make sure the RPO signs it, and then you will have to sign it as well as their representative. Okay, right there it says real estate broker. If you're not an associate broker, then the salesperson can actually sign it. Okay, whoever's listing it. All right, let's move on to the next one, Michelle.
Okay. So there's just a couple of items on the residential lease or month to month. So let's see.
You want me to go over it, Michelle?
Yeah, you can. You go over the first page and I'll take the second page.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
All yours.
Okay. So the residential lease or month to month, right here, you're going to see that they've changed this to the RPO. Authorized broker or agent or property manager, which they're calling the housing provider. So you may see that term in here, and that's housing provider. So just keep these new terms in mind. And here they've clarified, which I think is great, because sometimes guests on a premises, the landlord doesn't want them staying indefinitely, or maybe they don't even want them for 60 days on the premises. So now they've outlined here, any person in the premises other than those listed in this paragraph are considered guests. So you have to list who lives here, first and last names. Guests are not permitted to stay. The default is 14 days without landlord's written consent. If the landlord wants to make that shorter or longer, they need to check the box and insert the days. So just point that out to them. And I like that they brought this up here and that the landlord has a chance to review that and answer the question. So we're going to move down here. So the default on the payment is, check, money order, cashier's check. This is up to the RPO to let you know and to check which they prefer. Sometimes you'll see multiple check marks. Maybe they don't mind a personal check and or a cashier's check, and always put the made payable to. So payment via electronic apps such as PayPal or Venmo will not be accepted, or if they can check the box, will. So the default on PayPal or Venmo type apps is not accepted unless they check the box. So there's something really interesting on 5. I had to take a double check a couple of times and talk to the C.A.R attorneys. So right here, they've added this asterisk section. The maximum amount of the security deposit, however designated, cannot exceed 2 months rent for an unfurnished or 3 months security deposit for a furnished. So we're all pretty familiar with that, in addition to the first month. So you would put the first month here, the security deposit, and any other. So if you come down here, they've added this section. This limitation does not prohibit the payment of advanced rent of not less than 6 months if the rent term exceeds 6 months or longer. So if you were doing an advanced rent, you would put advanced rent and the total due. Now, when I kept rereading that thinking, do they really mean not less than 6 months? So I called the C.A.R hotline, and yes, they do mean not less than 6 months. So if you take any advanced rent, the attorney informed me that it is exactly as they've written it. They mean not less than 6 months, because I asked him if that fell into civil code, and he said, yeah, you have to follow this. So he didn't quote civil code, but he said we needed to follow this. So not less than 6 months. So if you're advising your RPO, it could be 6, 8, 12 months, providing that the lease is longer than whatever advanced rent you're taking. So you can't take advanced rent of 2 months, 3 months. It has to be a minimum of 6 months, advance, nothing less, and to make sure that the lease term exceeds that that month. Okay, those months. So I just wanted to point that out, because like I've always said, if you're not learning every day in this job, there's always something new to learn. And that was something new on me. I was quite surprised. So I called them just to make sure. So I want to point that out to you. So those are the changes on this form, very minimal. And hang on, let me come down. I'm going to get set up for the next form, which Ruben is going to take over. Ruben, did you have anything to add on the residential lease or month to month?
No, I think you covered it all pretty good.
Okay, and then Ruben is going to talk to you about the application to lease.
Okay, so the application to lease or rent, there's only one change that they made. So this is not a new form, it's an amended form. And basically all they did is they put the page where the property information, the screening information, and the signatures to the very end. So that's page 3 instead of in the front as page 1. It's actually pretty cool, because now you don't have to generate a whole entire application for each time you are going to apply for rent for your client. So you can use the first 2 pages as your master with the applicant's signature, and then just simply, if you're going to apply for, like, let's say 5 different places, you're just going to have to fill out a separate page 3 for the actual property, the specific property information and stuff. So it actually will save you some time and some paperwork. Just keep in mind that when you are screening them, kind of make a calculated decision on what type of screening you're going to be asking them to pay for, because some RPOs will require a more extensive screening, maybe perhaps a criminal or driving record or something like that. So just make a calculated decision so that way you don't have to do another type of screening later on down the road. Something else that they did as well on section 2B was that they increased the amount of the maximum screening fee from $30 to $52. So it gives you a little bit more allowance to be able to screen properly and stuff. So, because I know that $30 was a little bit low and stuff. So now you're able to do a little bit better of a screening and have that available for the RPO. Okay. And I think that's it for that form. What is the next form we're going over, Michelle?
So Ruben will be handling the move-in inspection. These are new, and move out.
All right. Well, basically, it is a new form, but it's kind of amended because there's these next two forms, which is the MII, which is the move-in inspection, and the MOI, which is the move-out inspection, which we're going to go over right after. Is going to replace the one form, which is, you guys know it as the MIMO, move in, move out. The reason why they're doing two forms instead of one is because they're running into instances where it gets lost or it gets damaged, deteriorated, non-legible. So basically, you're going to have a move-in MII, which is a move-in inspection that you're going to fill out when you are moving your tenant in. Okay, and then it's not required, but it could be a good practice to just go ahead and include an MOI, a move-out inspection, at the time when you guys are finishing your transaction. But that you're not going to fill out. That's basically for the RPO once they are ready to move out, whenever they move out, depending on the terms and stuff. But more than likely, you're not going to be representing the tenant at that time. So that's why we asked just to give them the MOI at the time of when you're finishing up your transaction and stuff. And that's the move-in inspection. Michelle, do you want to go to the first page of the move-in inspection really quick? I just want to show
Sure.
at the very top, there's a new section where they added a new box where it says brand new, and it has an N. So that's basically for like appliances or anything that's affixed to the property that is brand new. So it's just specifying that item is new and it has not been used. And then there's also a little section in every category where it has tenant remarks as well. Michelle, you want to show them that a little bit right there? So that's this is the move-in inspection, which is replacing the MIMO, the move-in, move-out. So you would do this when your tenant is moving in, and then when the tenant moves out, if you are in the transaction at that time, then you would do the move-out inspection, but more than likely you would not. But you can, as a courtesy, include this in the transaction so that the landlord has a move-out form at that time. Okay. And this also has a little section for tenant remarks as well. And that's basically what this form is. It's not not a lot of changes, basically just separating one form into two.
Ruben, so I'm trying to understand that this is not mandatory, the MOI.
From what I've known, maybe Michelle can chime in here. No, it's not required because they can be there for 5 years. They can be there for 2 years. So, but as a courtesy, you never know. You might get business from this landlord. I'm sorry, RPO. We got to get that word out of our mind and stuff. But yeah, so it's just a courtesy. Michelle, do you know anything about that as far as?
Yeah, the move out inspection form, if you're not, we don't want to look like a property manager if we're not on contract leasing. I can't see, I'm trying to think, if Peter's here, he may chime in, but I can't think of an instance where we would be doing this for the RPO because our agency would have already been expired. Unless we're a property manager, which, we don't do that here. So
Before the move in, move out, you had a section, but it was just left blank.
it was always left blank. And that brings another comment here. So unless the form is checked where I was pointing out when agency is dissolved, unless the agent has checked the move-in inspection, it wouldn't be required, but we as a brokerage can take a look at that and we'll update all the agents because you would literally have to check the box that you're going to be performing the move-in inspection. So we'll get some information back out on that. It's probably a good idea if we finish it up with the move-in inspection as we've always done in the past. So we may want to be checking that box, but it will be communicating back to you on that.
Okay, we'll clarify that, but it's my understanding that we do not, it's not a requirement to
No.
include the move out inspection, but
That's correct.
but we will clarify that and send out an email for everybody.
The move-in is not a requirement either unless the box is checked on the form, but we may want to address that. So,
Okay.
Yeah, that's my only comment. Do you want me to pull up the box and see if we have any questions in it?
Yeah, let's see.
Can you see the box, the chat box?
I can.
Okay.
Christine's first question is, what is the mindset not to disclose to the tenant?
Oh, that's a good question, Christine. So, I listened to the recording on this and kept going back and re-listening what the C.A.R attorneys were giving information on that, and they were addressing it. They were saying that they may migrate the form a bit so that it is disclosure that would go from RPO to tenant. But right now, this information is just so that you are adequately marketing the property, that you're aware of the property condition. Or they said also that if there's any things that are required of the RPO to complete in the property, for instance, carbon monoxide, detector, smokes, water heater strapping, and they've checked that it's not there, that you can let them know that those things would need to be done ahead of time. That was their only explanation. They said that they have gotten that same question from other agents when they started rolling this out. So they may consider making a separate form that the RPO would be able to give to the tenant. But right now, this is not for the tenant. This is only between RPO and listing agent. And that was the only explanation they have right now, other than they'll review what agents are asking.
Yeah, just to add to what you just said, Michelle, I think they're going to make a change to that, because why would you make a form that's just between, one side of the party and stuff? So it's kind of biased, but, for now, this is our understanding, and this is how the C.A.R attorney explained it to us and stuff. So remember, these are new forms that might be revised and stuff. So just stay tuned and we'll keep you updated on those. Christine, you had a question. How can we attach pictures to the form? You can actually unmute yourself if you want. This is an open forum now. At this point, we're done with our forms. I don't understand your question quite a bit. I mean, you can maybe see attached pictures if you wanted to and add it to it. But there's no place for you to actually drop in an image into these forms. But maybe perhaps at the very end, you could put see attached 5 pages of photos, or 1 page of photo, or whatever, and then just put those images onto 1 page and then attach that page to it and stuff. So that might be a way for you if you want to attach pictures. All right.
If they took 100 pictures to the move-in, yeah, Christine, that's a hard one.
You
You know,
could
I
put a
haven't
link.
experienced that.
If you want me to answer that question, then I would just put a link put a link on the page.
Oh,
Yeah, just put a link on the page and say, you know, see additional pictures at this link. Maybe it's a YouTube link or whatever. But 100 pictures, that's a little exaggerated and stuff. But if that was the case, I would just put a link because that's just a lot of imagery. And we're going to open it up to people who have any questions regarding any of these forms, new forms, revisions. So if you have any questions, feel free. Michelle, Anna, do you want to add anything to this?
No, but we will be working on updating the new forms to our sky slope shortly. So you will see the difference eventually.
Perfect. You know what? I'm glad you reminded us because we're going to be working on that today, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi all. Yes, I have a question about the questionnaire, what Michelle mentioned before. When they sent the forms, we need to, the owner, they need to fill it out the forms, and the owner needs to put, if he put yes, needs to put an explanation about that. How about if they put it on no? They need to put an explanation too?
no explanations for no's.
I have that question because on the RPA, on the property owner questionnaire, I know it's a different form, but they have in the same way, they need to put yes or no explanation. And I send it to my client by DocuSign. And, you know, he complains to me because he put even no, they request an explanation and he cannot move on. I need to meet my client in person for he can fill it out, the form, and return it to me.
Okay, but if you look at the awareness statement here on number 3, yes is appropriate no matter how long the item being asked about is what happened, was documented unless otherwise specified. Explain any yes answers in the space provided or attach additional comments. So as with the SPQ, we usually are only explaining the yes. I don't know why there's a glitch in that. That is a glitch in maybe the system. But yes, it's normally the yes answers, not the no. Because we'd be typing all day if we were explaining every no answer, because no is no. So you're only going to be explaining the yes. And I don't know why there was a glitch. Which system were you using, Shirley?
The DocuSign system from the forms what we have.
Okay, well, we can try to take a look at it, but and see if there's somebody for you to call on that. But that sounds like a glitch to me.
I think if I might add is when you transfer these forms into a DocuSign, it might give another feature or area where it requires additional information. But as far as a form, if the RPO is disclosing that there's nothing wrong or he knows of no defects, then there's no further explanation needed and stuff.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. We'll play around with it, Shirley, and see.
Thank you, Michelle.
Oh, you're welcome.
On a side note, Shirley, call me regarding your listing, so we can figure out that website for it.
Thank you, Ruben.
Any other questions that we can?
We can go off the topic too. So you have questions not related to these forms or revisions. Now is the time.
Yes, hi, Michelle and Ruben. This is Kathy Wong. I tried to play with the seller property questionnaire that the previous agent mentioned about that. I tried to create that form for my client, but before I send it to them, I tried to send it to myself, my own email. I opened it, and actually it doesn't allow me to fill out those answers on the property questionnaire.
Yeah, that's right, because they don't want you filling it out. Let's see.
No, what I mean is I try to be a client. I don't know because
Oh,
they,
you're acting as the client.
as a client. right.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, so let's say the previous listing I had is I had to print it out, gave it, I hand into my sellers and have them fill it out themselves, manually fill it out, and then I'll try to input for them because I want the form to look neat, So,
Right.
yeah, so I think I don't know, I haven't actually be the sellers, but they, I don't know if there's an issue on this that seller cannot just fill out.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know, maybe you want to try it yourself to be a seller.
yeah, we'll do that later today because we're gonna be meeting anyway to update the sky slope with Anna and
Mhm.
Ruben and I. So we'll play with it and see what we're coming up with.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Kathy, for
You're
trying that.
welcome. No
Michelle,
problem.
I would like to say something too. I think it's because of the little boxes. That's the reason it's not taking it.
Okay,
I
Well-
think that's the reason why there's too many little boxes.
Kathy, can you confirm, were you trying to email it as a PDF, a fillable PDF or a DocuSign?
Oh, DocuSign, a zip form. I use a lot of zip form plus zip form. Yeah, through
Okay.
zip form actually.
So that may be a glitch. So we'll play with it today and then we'll respond to you, Kathy, or we'll
No
respond to we'll respond to everybody that's attending today and let them know our findings because that could be a glitch because of the boxes.
Okay, no problem. At your convenience. Thank you.
thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome.
But there's another way you can send it if you're having those issues, it could be a glitch, but you can save it as a PDF and then just send it to them. And if they have the software, they can actually check box and fill it in and then send it back.
Right.
And
Well, I understand. Yeah, but some people they don't have specific software to
Right.
fill in. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
And we're trying to make everything faster. So this is, we don't want them to print it, fill it out and send it back and stuff. So yeah, we'll get to the bottom of it.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Thanks.
Okay, any other questions related to or not related to? All right, I think we'll wrap it up then, Michelle.
Hey, thank you, guys. It's been a
Thank you for
pleasure.
attending.
Yeah, have a great weekend.
All
Thank you.
righty. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Don't
Hey,
forget, Ruben, I will be there on Monday evening to